In a tiny town in the middle of the desert, many mysteries seem to live here. The town is home to military Sims, mad scientists, aliens who lead a normal-looking life, and missing Sims who have no memory of their past life. At the end of this little town, on 13 Dead End Lane, not everything is as it seems. As the moment you enter the lifeless-looking home, you start to believe the whispers going around town about the owner. While looking around, you notice there's a lack of windows and the house is dark and oddly designed. You continue to look around and find yourself in the infamous Olive Garden. But instead of finding a blossoming garden, you find a graveyard. The feeling is eerie. You don't feel safe. You can't help but notice the large red chair at the back of the graveyard, intentionally placed as if someone enjoyed relaxing among the dead. Something inside you tells you to run. Your gut is twisting and turning. You turn around to make your escape, but you're met with the face of an elderly woman. A woman with sinister intentions behind her eyes. You start to feel your heart race. You're realizing the rumors might just be true. But before you can make another move, everything goes black. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Spilling Sims series, and today we're going to be talking about a suspected serial killer in StrangeTown. We're going to be talking about Olive Specter today. And before we get too deep into the story, because once we're in, child, I just want to say thank you for watching my Bella Goth video, my first Spilling Sims video. For those who commented their theories, thank you so much. I enjoyed reading everyone else's theories. It was chef's kiss. And I plan on making another video on Bella Goth, including y'all's theories, if that's okay with you, and including other theories and other information that I couldn't fit in the previous video, because when I tell you there's a lot, okay, there's a lot. But that video will be coming. It's gonna take a while, but she will come at some point. But again, thank you to all my new subscribers. Hey girl, hey girly pop, how you doing? Yeah, I'm really excited for this series. There's so much lore in the Sims that people don't know about, and I'm so happy to be the person to convey it to you. So yeah, let's get into the serial killer of StrangeTown. Now, as we learned in my Bella Goth video, The Sims is on a timeline starting with The Sims 3, then it's The Sims, and then it's The Sims 2. For this video, we're going to be focusing on the events of The Sims 2 because Olive Specter does appear in The Sims 3, but they kind of jumbled up a little bit of the timeline, if I can put it that way, in The Sims 3. So we're going to focus mainly on The Sims 2, and I'll add tidbits here and there from The Sims 3 into the story because it just adds a little bit more, you know, just a little bit more context. But yeah, we're focusing solely on The Sims 2 today. So I'm sure, as you're wondering by the title, if murder is possible in The Sims. And the answer is, depends on your definition of murder. So the Sims themselves, they cannot perform actions that cause the death intentionally of another Sim. So for example, I can't make my Sim go stab another Sim and kill him. I can't make my Sim set up a trap intentionally wanting to kill another Sim. Do you know what I mean? You cannot intentionally murder, you know, each other. But as the player, as the one who technically plays God, I can create a sequence of you know, events that can and will cause the death of another Sim. So murder, if we're putting it in the storyline of The Sims, and like if we're thinking I'm a Sim, you're a Sim, I can't murder you, you can't murder me. You know what I mean? It's la-di-da this side. But God can just make a series of unfortunate events, you know what I mean? So yeah, that is the answer to can you murder. However, even though Sims murdering each other is not possible in The Sims, this didn't stop the game developers from creating a whole ass storyline with mysteries, murders, implied murders by the Sims team, creating a true crime-esque storyline with specifically this story. And that's what we're going to be covering today. So today we'll be talking about the life and the crimes of Olive Specter. So background And just Sims 2, just jumping into it, okay. Olive Specter lives with her niece Ophelia Nickmos on 13 Dead End Lane in StrangeTown. Their family bio reads, who is buried in Olive Specter's garden? Will the mysterious, aging outcast leave her fortune to her niece Ophelia, or, as rumored, to an unnamed heir? So that's like the first thing you are met with when you are choosing to play this household. Okay, so we jumping right in, child, aren't we? So in The Sims 2, Olive Specter, she is a Scorpio, period. Shout out to all my Scorpios. She has a strong interest in the environment, food, the weather, the paranormal, money, health, and animals. Child, that was a mouthful. So Olive's bio, how she's described in The Sims 2, goes as, Olive will stop at nothing to get what she wants. She spends her time collecting mushrooms, sharpening sticks, and excavating her yard. Wait. And she is famously known around town for Olive's Garden, which is comically named after the American-Italian restaurant that is in the United States called Olive Garden. And it's rumored that a lot of the developers who were busy with The Sims 2 and the storyline, that was one of their favorite restaurants. So, I mean, if the shoe fits, wear it, right? Anywho, child, so when you start the game, Olive is an elder. She's living with her niece Ophelia, who is a teen. Olive is at the top of the slacker career, and she is beefing with a military man called General Buzz Grunt. Okay, they are beefing. They don't like each other. Okay, if you take a look at Olive's memories, you get a detailed glimpse into her life, and you learn that Olive has had many encounters with death. I mean many, okay? According to her memories, when Olive was a teenager, she remembers witnessing the death of a woman called Danielle Greaves. Get it? Greaves. Anyways, so Danielle was a pizza delivery woman who ironically died of starvation. I know, if there's one thing about this thing, there's irony everywhere. And she is buried in Olive's Garden. She was an adult at the time. She was a Virgo. Shout out to my Virgos. And she had an interest in the paranormal, and she had the knowledge aspiration. So, moving on to Olive's many lovers and alleged victims. We quickly find out that Olive had many a men back in the day. Okay, sis had beer-flavored nipples or something, as Bailey Sarian would say. So who were these men, right? And what significance did they play in who Olive is today? You know, as we see her in The Sims 2. And do those close to these men meet a similar fate? Well, I'm finna tell you. Okay, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for it today, okay? Try to pay attention because there's many deaths we're gonna go through. There's many deaths, there's many names, okay? I'm gonna talk about Olive's men in this section, but keep in mind that other deaths occurred, you know, in between these men coming into her life. So when we're looking at Olive's memories, we see that she was engaged to a man called Earl E. Demise, which, as you can tell, is a play on the phrase early demise. Okay, so at this time, Earl is an adult and he's a Cancer, and he also has an interest in the paranormal. He has an interest in politics, and he has the family aspiration. I know, child. But Earl E. Demise left poor Olive at the altar, leaving her devastated. But shortly after that, he dies. He dies by electrocution. And he's also buried in Olive's garden. Okay, so Olive's boothang left her at the altar. That's real fucking shitty if you ask me. But after Earl E's death, his brother Tim Lee Demise, I can't. Tim Lee, which is a play on the phrase timely, you know, like timely demise, early demise. He also dies from electrocution, just like his brother, and his grave is also found in Olive's garden. Coincidence? I think not. But, you know, I'm guessing his death was timely. I don't know, as his name suggests. So Tim Lee was an adult when he died. He was a Cancer with the family aspiration, just like his brother, and he had strong interests in money, politics, and the paranormal, as well as work. So, I mean, interesting man, right? Sometime after Earl E. demise, Olive Specter marries a man called, wait for it, Rigor Mortis. You know, like the state the dead body goes into where it stiffens up for a few hours. Yeah, that one. So Rigor was an elder when they got married, and he died in a fire. Child, insane. He was also a Virgo, and he had strong interests in culture, politics, and he has the knowledge aspiration. And you guessed it, Rigor Mortis is laid to rest in Olive's garden. This is only the surface. Do you understand? Like, we're not even. Anywho. After being widowed by Rigor Mortis, Olive goes on to get married again. This time to a man called Euthanasia. I can't make this up, y'all. Anyways, Euthanasia and Olive tie the knot, okay? And Euthanasia died an early death by fire, and he was husband number 2, okay? He was a Libra. He had interest in the weather, money, and work. Sounds like an interesting guy. Anywho, he at least had the romance aspiration, and his grave can be found in Olive's garden. Now, Hugh's brother, Euthanasia, I can't put his name. He died shortly after Hugh and Olive's wedding, but the cause of his death is unknown and his grave is nowhere to be found. However, this could be due to the fact that his character data was deleted in the game at some point, but there is lore surrounding him. I just thought I'd put him in there because, you know, the names just chef's kiss. Now, last but certainly not least, Olive's last husband, Ichabod Specter. Cannot say that name for my life, child. Ichabod. Anywho, child. He is the only person in her graveyard that died from natural causes. So he must have done something good, right? So Ichabod is Hebrew for without honor. So I don't know, hey? But you know what they say, there's no rest for the wicked. And if this is a man who has no honor in his life, I guess that's why he died of natural causes. Olive probably just looked at him and was like, okay, life will deal with you, child. I don't know, I'm just talking nonsense now, but anyways, we continue. Ichabod was an Aquarius with an interest in fashion, work, and the weather, and he also had the family aspiration. So from what I can tell on all of Olive's men and their character traits, they all have some interest in the weather, politics, the paranormal. So that's the type of guy she's, you know, going for, which, you know what? Whatever makes you happy, girly pop, whatever makes you happy. Moving on to the other victims, because there's many. There's many. Whew. Child, have you been keeping count of the victims? I mean, listen, buckle up because there's more. Yes, I said more. See, because in between Olive getting married and her husband's dying mysterious deaths, more people were dying around her and being buried on her property. So I'm going to give you a quick run through of the rest of the poor souls that are buried in this lady's backyard. Are you ready? Because I'm just gonna throw them at you, so pay attention. There's Seth Zahidi. He's a repairman who died as an elder from starvation. Patrick Jones. There's no known connection to Olive, but he died by electrocution. Melissa Sims, a teenager who died from starvation. Jessica Ebady, child, a maid who worked for the Specter family for a long time because she actually has a memory of Danielle Greaves dying, and Danielle Greaves was the first person to die on that family lot. So she's been with that family for a long time. But there she is, child. There she is. Benjamin Cho. He is an exterminator who died of starvation. Vicky Sims, an adult who also died from starvation. It's rumored that she might be Melissa Sims' relative. Olive, and she may be Melissa Sims' relative, and she went to the Specter household to look for her, and she met the same fate. Then we have Lila Grunt, who is the ex-wife of one of Olive's memories. Remember General Buzz Grunt, who I mentioned earlier? Yeah, I think that's why they are beefing, because his ex-wife is buried in her yard. Well, she died from electrocution. Luke Smith, another teenager, he died from drowning. And Brenda Zaidi, a male woman who died from drowning and is buried on Olive's lot. However, Olive has no memory of her, which at first I was like, that's a bit weird, you know. But the more I thought about it, I was like, okay, I've watched many true crime videos where the criminals, the murderers, have murdered so many people they can't even remember their names. So this isn't so strange. Then we have Olive's parents, Peponi and Lerato, as well as her sister and brother-in-law are on the lot. They may have not been murdered by her. So I bet you're wondering, how many graves does Miss Ma'am have in her backyard? 19 graves. A lot of them are not even her family, which is why there's so many rumors that she is a serial killer in StrangeTown. Like, how can you have so many people buried in your backyard that are not even related to you? You don't remember ever meeting them. Like, how does this, how? I have questions. I mean, this woman has literal repairmen, pizza delivery guys, mailmen in her yard, and to make matters worse, out of all the people in her garden, Olive has only had relationships with her family members and her husbands. Everyone else, no fucking relationship found, okay? It's not like she knew them, you know, and like they just happened to die, unfortunately. No, she had no relationship to these people. They just died on her lot and are buried there. Care to explain? Because the math ain't math. I'm just saying. Moving on to nervous subjects. So, it's speculated that after the first few deaths, Olive started murdering Sims in StrangeTown in order to get closer to the Grim Reaper. This speculation comes from her bio in The Sims 3, which reads, let me actually get it up. Olive has had her fair share of death in life, with every romantic relationship she had ending in a sudden and untimely death. Looking at you, early demise, euthanasia, rigor mortis. Furious at death, she decided to track him down and give him a piece of her mind. So, Girly Pop wanted to give him a piece of her mind, child, and she was willing and ready to do anything to get him to listen, even if it meant murdering half the damn town, child. Anyways, sometime after Euthanasia's death and before she married Ichabod Specter, Olive finally gets to be around the Grim Reaper, okay? She's around him long enough, she's like, listen, you and I need to talk, okay? Because you busy out here. But instead of talking, they, you know, sleep together. Olive, Girly Pop, we need to talk. My question is, right, so in order for the Grim Reaper to appear, there needs to be a death that occurs. So did Olive... Did Olive murder somebody before she and the Grim Reaper slept together? That's nasty. That's nasty. So nasty. It's so nasty, in fact, that she got pregnant. I cannot make this up. No. You thought it couldn't get worse. She is pregnant with the Grim Reaper's baby. Wow. Wow. Now, there's enough anecdotal evidence. Not even just anecdotal, there's enough that the Sims team gives you that you can definitely say that he is the father of this child. Although in the family trees, he doesn't appear, like in game, he doesn't appear as the father of the child, but you know, there's enough evidence to suggest. You know, kind of like how there's enough evidence to suggest that Bella Goth was abducted by aliens. Same thing. Olive gives birth to her baby, and she names him, bless his soul, she names him Nervous Subject. Unfortunately, as if this woman and the just unfortunate events around her aren't enough, Nervous Subject was taken away from her as a child by social services. Like real quick, because she woohooed the Grim Reaper, she had him, and not long after that, he was gone. Listen, when you look deeper into the meanings of the names in the Specter family, one thing is for sure. Her being surrounded by just demise. Oh my god. Scary! Olive! Is that you, girl? Anyways, her being surrounded by just demise and death and all of that shit was very much destined, if you ask me. So, let's go into the meanings behind the names of the family members in the Specter family. And when I tell you, it's foreshadowing. Let's start with Olive Specter. So, Olive Specter, her name is believed to be a play on the phrase, I love Specter. A specter is another word for a ghost. And more wordplay, because, you know, we've got early demise, we got euthanasia, we got rigor mortis, you know, like the wordplay just keeps going. So Olive Specter, trying to be a play on I love Specter and also the Olive Garden, it checks out. But Olive Specter was born to her parents Peponi and Lerato Muenda. Now, when I tell you the references to death and afterlife in this family are many, so get ready for all kinds of just sadness. Peponi is Swahili for paradise. You know, like the place you go to when you die. And his wife, Lerato, is Sutu for love. So, chef's kiss. Stunning, stunning. So, Peponi and Lerato. Great. They go on to have two daughters, Olive Specter and Willow Nigmos. Olive Specter's sister is believed to be named Willow as a reference to the willow tree, which symbolizes, which symbolizes being able to withstand hardships, loss, and grief. Starting off strong, aren't we? Their family name, Muenda, has two possible meanings. One being one who cares for others. Stunning. Gorgeous. And the other one meaning thrashing a person or animal out of anger or punishment. Yeah, Lerato and Peponi are both deceased at the start of the game, and they both died by fire. So now, let's talk about Willow and her husband, Creon. I think that's how you say it. Is it Crone? I don't know. Anywho. Crone Nigmos, these names are a lot, was born to Zog and Hecate Nigmos. Here we go again with the names. Just bear with me, child. Just bear with me. So Nigmos is a play on the word enigma, which means a person or a thing that is difficult to comprehend or understand. So Crone, I don't know. He is a reference to the story of Oedipus Rex, child, I don't know what to tell you. Where in this story, Creon's entire family dies. Stunning! Okay, so entire family is a bit of a stretch, but many of their family members in the story of Oedipus Rex, many of the family members of Creon die. Okay, this is who Creon Nigmos is named after. So, Zog is derived from the word Kielzog, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which is the wake of a boat. So when a boat is moving and there's the separation of water behind it, that's called a wake. That could also be like wordplay. I didn't see this anyway, this is purely my own theory. But this could also be on the word for wake, like the wake you have at a funeral. I'm just saying, that's my theory. I don't know. Anyways, Hecate, one of my favorite names this far, okay? It's Hecate, then it's Lerato, because okay, those who know me, they know her. She is named after the ancient Greek goddess of magic, witchcraft, the night, ghosts, necromancy, and the moon. We love Hecate. Give it around for Hecate. Love this for you, girly. Anywho, so Mr. My whole family dies, and Miss thrashing out of anger, Willow, go on to get married, okay? And they have a daughter who they name Ophelia Nigmos. Now, for those who read Hamlet in high school, now is our time for that knowledge to finally come through. How does it feel? Those of you who know, but Ophelia done drowned herself after she literally went mad in Hamlet. But I mean, those of us who read it in high school, we know. I see you. Crazy. I know. You know what else feels crazy? That both Creon and Willow, who are buried in Olive's garden, by the way, their cause of death was drowning. I just think it's funny how these two have a daughter who they named after Ophelia from Hamlet, who went insane and drowned herself, died of drowning. It's a full circle moment, if you ask me. Okay, so we're gonna take a brief look into Olive's garden, or Olive Garden, where instead of, you know, garlic bread and breadsticks, we find 19 graves. But I digress. When you take a look at her home, there ain't no windows, child. There's like maybe 3 or 4. There's no windows in there, okay? And it looks like a mausoleum. It's made of stone, it's dark, it's kind of creepy, there's a lack of windows. If you look at Olive's garden, her graveyard, you'll notice a big ass red chair in her yard where she likes to sit and look down at her victims. Olive, honey, get better hobbies. So if we take a look at how the graves are placed, you can actually see who had more importance to Olive. For example, Ichabod, her husband who died of natural causes, the last person she married, the person whose last name she took and kept. His grave is right next to her chair. And he's the only one that she allegedly didn't murder, you know? The next closest victim is Rigor Mortis. Even though he died shortly after the honeymoon, maybe a part of her kind of feels bad, you know, for murdering him, so she like keeps him close by. I don't know. Okay, so what is Olive's life right now? So throughout Olive's murder spree, she leveled up in her career. At the start of the game, the player is prompted with a message saying that Olive is ready to retire. So she's ready, okay? And as we said in the bio earlier, she likes, you know, digging mushrooms, sharpening sticks, and excavating her yard. She just wants to focus on the murder. Okay, remember Olive's son, nervous subject? Well, he was taken away from her when he was a child. You know, they never saw each other again. He actually lives literally down the street from her, and they don't know. Like, he doesn't know that his biological mother is up the street. Like, he doesn't know that the lady that the town is saying murders people is his mom. And she doesn't know that, you know, this adult male down the street is her son. I'm assuming they haven't met each other, like they don't have a relationship with each other, but they don't know that the other person exists and that they live in the same town. But when Olive dies, her inheritance goes to nervous subject instead of her niece Ophelia. Talk about a slap in the face, child. Whew, child, that was a lot, and that was heavy. So I thought I would end this video with some fun facts about this lore and the story and whatnot. So are you ready? There's not a lot, but just a few to cleanse the palate, you know. Number 1, Olive Specter, like I said, she was created in The Sims 3, which is set in the past. Let's remember that. So this town that she's in, the downloadable town called Midnight Hollow, it's kind of like a gothic type town that you'd expect the Addams family to live in. That is where she is. She's an adult and she's there with nervous subject as a toddler. Like, she's there with him, and it's my heart key. Remember the description I read earlier where it says Olive's had her fair share of death in her life? Well, after she gave him a piece of her mind, the description goes on to say what she didn't expect was to start a relationship with him. That ended quickly, but she was left with something to remember him by. Now it's just her and her young son, who is quite the nervous subject indeed. Now, there is lore with nervous subject alone outside of his mom. He's kind of erratic, like he's a little bit, his name being nervous subject has to do with the fact that he was just like a nervous little kid from the moment he was born. In The Sims 2, Olive Specter has no eyebrows. None. She's just going around looking like this, child. Oddly enough, none of the people buried in her garden have eyebrows either. Like, they don't have eyebrows. Nobody has eyebrows. Explain to me. Anywho, child, in The Sims 3, Olive Specter is actually in the culinary career, and she's a vegetable slicer. Last but certainly not least, it is theorized that nervous subject is a literal clone of his father, the Grim Reaper, and that's why he and I almost said Ophelia, child. That's why he and Olive don't look alike. And so yeah, fun facts. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my theories and the theories of the Sims community. As always, everything that I used to gather information for this video is linked down below, as well as where I got the photos that I used in the video. They're mostly from the same websites, but sources are down below. Please feel free to comment your own theories, any information I might have missed, or anything you'd like me to address in a future video. And let me know if you have any ideas for who you'd like me to cover next. I know in my last video I hinted at the Calientes, but my brain was so wrecked over the whole Bella Goth thing and the people surrounding her. I wanted to like do a completely different family, you know, just to like give my brain a break. Yes, and if you want to hear more stories, you want to hear about what happened to Bella Goth, that video is linked down below. Okay, enjoy. She's chef's kiss. And be sure to watch my Mims Legacy Challenge as well, where we're going through 10 generations on short lifespan in The Sims, and we are raising an evil motherfucker. That's all I gotta say. Okay, he is his daddy's son. It is so interesting and it's more chilled vibes, you know. If you don't play Sims, would you like to watch it? I very much recommend watching my Mims Legacy Challenge. Anyway, yeah, give this video a like and subscribe, share with your friends, share on your social media if you like it that much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!